podcast.
You listen to Kendrick and Matt on the Slip and Dip podcast.
Oh, beautiful, man. What is up, people? Welcome back to the Slip and Dip podcast, episode 109, on the heels of UFC Newark, New Jersey, where we saw a lot of welterweight drama go down. We'll get into all that in a second. Yeah, kind of a relatively tame combat sports weekend, right? I am Matthew Wells. Alongside me, as always, Kendrick Johnson. What'd you make of this weekend in combat sports, Kendrick?
It's nothing crazy, just par for the course. You got so many shows, they got to fill contracts. It's kind of like a filler weekend. And boxing, the biggest fight was the heavyweight fight, Chris Arreola, and I can't want to butcher the Polish guy. He's such a big deal. Joanna was at the fight. I would have won the fight just for that. Like, that's a one-on-one time with JJ.
Yeah.
But he looked terrible. They talking about he gonna fight Deontay. That dude in like 6 rounds.
I hear you on that. Before we get into breaking down the biggest show of the weekend, we do have Geoff Neal on the show this week.
Hands of Steel.
Neal coming off of his victory over Nico Price. So
he balled, he got the call.
Fortis MMA is in the house. And we talked to one of our favorite guests, recurring guests on the show, Mr. Stephen the Warman Wright, as well, to give us his perspective on the boxing world and MMA as well. Everything going on with Chris Cyborg and the welterweight division and heavyweight boxing. So,
everything, all combat sports.
Yeah, fun chats. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into UFC Newark, Colby Covington, Robbie Lawler. I personally, fight-wise, the fight itself, I'm not talking about all the other drama we're going to get into in a second, but as the fight itself, as far as that was concerned, it went exactly as I thought it was going to go.
I didn't got to strike him. I thought he'd have to just lay on him and wrestle him. I didn't know he could strike him the way he did.
Nah, see, people underestimate.
But as how striking, though, I think he's getting more props. It's kind of like you have a guy that can throw a 3-point shot, make a 3-point shot, but he makes 5 of them, so it's getting overrated because he threw so many punches, but he didn't do no damage, but he did enough to outstrike Robbie.
A lot of volume. And the striking didn't surprise me because when you're so worried about wrestling, you're going to get punched in the face. When you're so worried about the takedown, you're going to get punched in the face. And Colby was definitely doing a lot of pitter-patter, throwing out the jabs just to keep Robbie busy, keep him off balance with his head movement that Robbie likes to do. And Robbie was being really effective with that head movement. The problem was he wasn't returning anything back to keep Colby in trouble. He would throw one a minute, it seemed, but it was just wasn't enough.
Well, Colby also technically, he would throw it and keep it out there, what some boxers don't even do, and they pay the price. He has very good his boxing trainer. Whoever is his boxing coach, he got to give him a bonus because that's basically what he did was boxing 1-on-1. And then when he got in, he went all his shots. He went head. He had a couple good body shots mixed in the kicks. He put on an MMA clinic. Like, he going to show somebody what is MMA. That's what he did. He kicked. He wrestled. He punched.
Yeah.
He grappled. He tied up on the cage. He dirty boxing. I was thinking about that. What's the difference between dirty boxing and fighting in boxing? The same thing. Just see, like, MMA, they call it dirty boxing.
Yeah. Virtually the same thing.
Yeah. He won everything. He clearly won. It wasn't even close. It
broke a record for striking attempts as well, for 540 strikes attempted, 510 significant strikes. I don't understand how you get a significant strike attempt versus a regular strike attempt. But anyways, I'm not going to get into the semantics of that. But it just shows you the volume and the pace, man. Like I was tweeting, I tweeted, right before, I was like, he's got an unlimited gas tank, and that's going to be a problem for
But that pace is a little overrated.
How?
Because I guess Kamaru, I guarantee you he won't be able to do that. I guarantee you he'll be able to do that, win or lose. Because it's like fake, like he's staying active, but he's not going. He was gassing about 60-70%. I'm just going to get there and give you some show. Somebody younger and more athletic, he's going to have a lot more steam. Therefore, he's going to use a lot more energy. Therefore, you're not going to be doing that for 5 rounds. Guarantee you. And at least somebody on that level, somebody's not on his level, he can do what he wanted to do. He clearly was the boss in the ring. But a championship fight, where it's a back and forth, ebb and flow fight, no way. No way. There's going to be a slipping somewhere.
Interesting take. I agree that Kamaru will be definitely returning a lot more pressure because he will offer up something in the wrestling department that Robbie didn't. So that's going to be something. And while we're on the subject of Kamaru, just talk about their little altercation they had at the booth after the fight. Colby shows up wearing the belt, which is something that I don't understand why Dana let him do. Because he is not a champion right now.
But see, he's an outlier, though. I don't know why people get so all offended. If Dana ain't offended, how can you be offended?
Because Dana picks and chooses these things that he allows fighters to get away with.
That's why MMA is entertainment. All things entertainment. Right. I see what you're saying from the pure of the sport. You got to do with a fake belt. But at the end of the day...
He's talking about the purity of the sport by... He has to be the next one in line. He is because of the purity of the sport. Yet you're walking around with a fake belt that you don't own. Okay, let's talk about what's pure.
I think he do own the belt though, because he didn't get an interim though. He does not the current champion. I think he do own that belt.
He's not recognized as the current interim champion. So you're walking around a belt that doesn't mean anything. You're walking around with a belt that was stripped from you.
What you're going to get you a lineal belt? Can get you a little title.
He wouldn't have even been the lineal champion.
He wouldn't be, I'm saying though, but it would be clearly that Kamaru would be the lineal.
Right. But yeah, so it's this whole thing, it's going to get ugly in this build up between these two, and it's going to be really, really...
Why are I so concerned?
He's brought politics and racism into this game, and that's what's going to be a huge... It can get ugly. I'm talking about not just for the build up for social media, but for the people that potentially that could be attending these events. It could get really, really ugly, man, because these people are out of control, man. These people are out of control. These MAGA people are out of damn control.
We've seen this before, though. Not with the MAGA people. Not with the MAGA people, but we see the same thing, just other countries and ethnicities. It's just like same medicine, just different verbs.
No, I disagree.
Well, what the hell did Conor just do for the last year?
Conor did nothing politically. This is politics. This is something that strikes a nerve in the entire nation, especially when you're talking about politics.
American.
In this polarizing MAGA narrative thing that we're in.
If Kobe was from Russia, people would not care.
Of course not. Of course not. But that's neither here nor there. What we're saying is we've got this MAGA thing going on. We've got these white supremacists shooting up cities, and this guy is wearing the red hat, talking to the president in the wake of said mass shooting in El Paso. Meanwhile, why the president is giving Colby Covington any semblance of recognition, like any time of day after you have a mass shooting on the same day if you're a president, is just terrible optics. But of course, Donald Trump doesn't know anything about optics anyways, but I digress. So it's just, I'm worried about the build-up, man. I hope it doesn't get too ugly. Luckily, they didn't do anything too crazy like in this moment here. You know, they just talked a little bit of back and forth.
No, everybody on the set.
Back and forth.
No, everybody on set has to have a bodyguard. That's the craziest thing. I just think it's funny because people talk about how awkward it is, but yeah, people talk about it. So it's like it could have been too awkward. Like, the MMA people are the most flakiest people, and the people that cover the sport to an extent. That is just so awkward, but yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Because it's entertaining. It's funny. Everybody on set, including Karen and our man Rashad, have a bodyguard attached to them. Where you get that at? You can't script that. It's funny.
I mean, I guess it's also concerning because, like, it's concerning, man. It's just concerning. Like I said, hopefully it doesn't get too ugly between these two, and we can get to the fight.
Hopefully
we just get to the fight, man. Because I mean, I want to see the best fight the best. And like I said, all BS aside, that all this Colby thing that he's doing, all that aside, he is one of the best welterweights on the planet. Kamaru is the current champion. So I want to see these fights go down.
I think the actual fight itself will not be what people think, because it's going to be a chess match, and people are not going to respect that. People are going to be, we said all this stuff, and all they did was wrestle. All they did was play chess, and then it's going to be a high-level fight. Because both those dudes are highly intelligent,
that's fun,
motivated, athletic. But I'm telling you, the fight will not get the props it should deserve, whatever happens.
I see. And I could agree. It could end up being a boring, just grind out.
I don't think it's going to be necessarily boring. It's just going to be very technical. Because neither fool's going to go rushing up in there, shooting crazy like they do on other people. Nobody's going to be doing this, throwing out a fake jab all for 5 rounds. Dudes ain't going to be like Kamaru trying to go throw down with Tyron when she knew he was hurt. Going to try to throw down the whole... A lot of that stuff is going to cancel each other out. So it's going to be more chest and physical. I'm going to impose my will. People are going to have their moments. I think it's going to be a push and tug fight, but it's not going to be this barn burner like everybody think because all the animosity.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of back and forth. There will be a lot of wrestling for sure, and I don't think it'll necessarily be boring. I think there will be more striking than what you're putting on because of the wrestling game is going to cancel each other out. So there will be a lot of striking involved. Neither one's going to be able to get a takedown as easy. Like Colby's not getting takedowns on Kamaru like he did on Robbie.
Y'all got that antiquated way of thinking at fights. Just because people are good. So I'm a really good wrestler. Just because I face another one, I'm not going to be confident in my wrestle build.
I did not say that. I did not say that confident. I said he will not be able to get a takedown as easy as he did on Robbie.
That's true, but you still can.
Which means if you can't get a takedown and if Kamaru can't get a takedown, what's your other option? Striking. That's what's going to happen. And we see that all the time. When you get two high-level BJJ fighters in there, they end up striking for the whole round because they can't get each other down.
But both these dudes have high IQs. It's going to be shots. Somebody's going to be on that ground. It just won't be. It just the setup has to be a little bit different. It won't be no blazing ass hand like throw some combinations or whatever.
I didn't say it would be high-level striking. I just said there'd be more striking than what you're thinking. Anyways. So the rest of the card was pretty entertaining for the most part. There were a lot of good knockouts.
Jim Miller, he showed how you get somebody up out of there. That was a perfect sub.
Well, this is crazy because it just shows how wild this sport can be. When you get rocked, you get rocked, and then literally in 5 seconds you win the fight because you immediately rock your opponent and then get him lock in a submission.
But to me though, that shows you how high level some of these people training are. Well, the fact that you got not even have your wits, you just going on autopilot on what you do every day in that gym, and you just sit on instinct and put a dude to sleep. That's probably one of the hardest dudes. If you're going for pound people to finish in UFC history, he's in the top 10, I would say.
Clay Guida?
Yeah,
I agree with that. I can agree with that, man. Yeah, he's
been a lot of fights. He's lost a lot of fights, but he hasn't been finished.
Yeah,
he's been bleeding on both sides of his head and still finished the fight and won.
Definitely. And he has a UFC Hall of Fame fight for a reason. He has a UFC Hall of Fame fight for a reason. He's definitely one of those type of guys. Props to Jim Miller, man. Fantastic fight.
Did you hear what he said when the mic picked up? You had to put me to sleep because I was going to come at you. Like, he was like giving him his props for putting him out.
Yeah. Kelvin Gastelum's doppelganger had a nice little win. Nice little finish with Joaquin Silva. Gerald Mearshart put Trevin Giles all the way out.
Was he winning? Who was winning that fight? I wasn't.
It was a little bit of back and forth. And then I want to say Trevin was winning, but then, Gerald Mearshart locks up this submission and choked him all the way out where he was tapping. Trevin was tapping, and then Herb was just in the wrong spot. I think it was Herb.
Oh.
Hopefully it was. I don't want to misspeak, but I think it was Herb who was out of position and didn't see the tap. So Trevin went all the way out, and that was kind of unfortunate to see. But hey, props to Gerald Mearshart, Rufus Sport.
This Scott Holtzman guy, I said something to him. He always gets in a crazy fight, but he usually come out winning. It's like he does what you're not supposed to do, but he keeps getting his hand raised.
Yeah.
He gets in the firefight.
He's really good. He's not afraid to stay in that pocket and train.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what makes for exciting fights that people like to watch.
And the fight that we technically watched together, PFO.
Fortis MMA.
I don't even want to talk bad about somebody, but man, my man Kennedy did everything he could do not to win the fight.
I think he's a work in progress, man. He's a work in progress coming off Contender Series. He's just got to figure out how to start quicker because he starts too slow.
He's too passive the whole fight.
Right.
It's like he's training. He's not trying to go for the kill. He clearly had the nice jab. Clearly had the reach.
That's his best weapon.
I don't want to use that.
That's his best weapon. He's got to build on that and not worry about so much about what his opponent's doing. I think that's part of the thing. Obviously, I mean, from what I read when I watch it, listen, I mean, nobody likes to get hit, obviously, but I think that's a thing where he's worried a little bit too much about that possibly versus going ahead and getting his offense off first. Working that, like when you got a long reach like that and you got a jab like that so you can pop, like you got to go first more often. But he's a work in progress, man. He gets the win.
Well, did he get the win or his sack get the win?
No, his sack took a major L. Sack took major L's. Major L's, man.
They were three clearly. It wasn't like, oh, did he get him on the belt? Like, it was clear. Like, Stevie Wonder probably could have found that out. It was clear.
Yeah. props to all the winners on the prelims. Mickey Gall is just keep getting fed all these guys nobody's heard of. It's weird. Valentina's sister got a nice little win, nice submission win in the second round. Matt Schnell looked great, first round submission. And that's all I saw. I didn't see these first few fights, so props to the winners. Yeah. Can't really talk about what I didn't see.
On the boxing side, Chris Arreola put up a good fight. He's
Did he though?
Did as a gatekeeper. I can't believe that's my Polish man. They threw 1,000. That's unheard of for heavyweights. They threw over 1,000 punches each.
It was an entertaining fight, but yeah, Chris, he clearly lost the fight, but it was entertaining for sure.
And that guy, the Polish dude, that keep talking about he might be a future opponent for Deontay Wilder.
Bro.
Don't get that man a free trip to the hospital. Y'all trying to set him up for failure.
Let's not do that.
No, let's not do that. It took him 1,000 punches to not get rid of somebody, to go a distance with somebody that Deontay beat in 6 rounds, and Deontay tore his bicep or something. It was a fight, I would say it was in Alabama. Deontay got hurt in the fight and still got him out of there. Yeah. That's how much the levels is to this.
Yeah, and it was... Yeah. Deontay was obviously calling that fight too, and
it's like it took everything for him not to laugh. Like, y'all don't want me to fight this guy?
Yeah.
You can tell by his tone. He's like, y'all want me to fight this guy? Like, y'all think he'll beat
me? maybe in like 2 years, once Deontay gets the rematch with Fury and Ruiz and Joshua, and maybe that guy would be next down the line.
Man, I'm already pumped for Fury Wilder too. It's like the closer, like I know they got to fight somebody in between, but that fight's gonna be that fight I've been wanting to see. That mega heavyweight in Vegas. Like, I saw the first one. Yeah. It was in L.A. LA's a different feel, but I've never seen a heavyweight championship fight in Vegas. And when I was a little kid, it was always like Mike Tyson fight at the Garage or Caesar's Palace. This was before MGM was even the thing. Now it was a MGM T-Mobile heavyweight fight in Vegas. Check. February. I'm ready for that. Yeah. 6 months out. Ready for it. Birthday weekend. Check 2. Vegas.
Yeah, that's one I want to get off my bucket list as well. Heavyweight fight.
That'd be the first. If that's your first one to go to, that'd be crazy, because it's crazy. Yeah, any title fight's crazy in Vegas, but a heavyweight fight is just something different. When everybody says, "I want to get the works."
Yeah. Again, I've been to some of the biggest MMA fights ever in Vegas, but dang, a heavyweight boxing, man, it's got a different feel.
Yeah, the only thing that could be better than that is a Mayweather fight. That's a whole nother level.
I mean, even low-level heavyweight boxing has a different feel, like we saw here like a couple weeks ago. Speaking of which, next week, or this coming up week, August 10th, we will be covering this fight here.
If you're local in Texas, Slip and Dip going to be on the scene.
Grand Prairie, not Grant Prairie. ESPN with the typo. But Virgil Ortiz will be taking on
Starting to make it. Golden Boy.
10-round welterweight fight going down. So, we will be there covering that.
Speaking of Golden Boy,
for you all week on the YouTube page as well. So
don't want to have to come at them. We behind the scenes stuff. We're gonna have high member of Canelo Alvarez team. Golden Boy has a bunch of turmoil going on right now. Mr. Alvarez got stripped of his IBF belt. Yep. They went past the deadline. I don't want to butcher my man's name. The Russian guy. Make a long story short. Dama, you good with the names?
I don't know who you're talking about. Go ahead.
Google Canelo, because it's not going. I will try to pronounce it.
Oh, goodness gracious!
He gonna fight Triple G.
Okay.
All right, Devinchenko. That's it.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Devinchenko was supposed to fight Canelo. The zone picked him out. Everything was good. And they offered him $5 million, but his team was hell bent on getting $7.5 million. They wouldn't budge. They knew the deadline. And guess who the guy was behind them? Our good old guy, Lou DiBella, that old school guy that know how to play the game.
Right.
Lou DiBella gets $5.5 million to fight Triple G, who on paper you would think is the easier fight out of Canelo and Triple G. If you have to pick the two, you're going to fight Triple G. So the guy that nobody knows is going to make his career payday against Triple G, fight on the zone, and fight for the belt that he lost when the guy that Jacobs that Canelo just beat him to get the belt. So that's how boxing politics go one-on-one. And the Canelo was going to move up and challenge Sergey Kovalev, but Kathy Dubin main events them. They were greedy too. They wanted 18 to 20 mil. Golden Boy set on 12. I don't think Kovalev's made more than 5 or 4, but he's not made no double figures like that. And so he wanted to cash out and get 20 mil. They said, nah, we good. So the Canelo knows all this behind the scenes drama, but from what I'm hearing is they didn't tell Canelo that he's going to lose his belt, how strict that deadline is. So he's highly pissed off at Golden Boy and the one Oscar De La Hoya. So they have a meeting tomorrow, and I might be breaking some news on one of the sites I do stuff for. But Golden Boy and Canelo are not on the same page as we speak.
Is Canelo's paycheck affected by how many belts he has?
No, it's not affected at all. It's all guaranteed. But his thing is it's more about ego. Like I've seen some stuff with Ryan Garcia, the Canelo's protege, who's also a Golden Boy fighter, talked about how you can't expect a guy to feel happy when you don't promote him. And Canelo's the guy. He shows up to the restaurant. People just gonna go to see him eat his food. So you really know. So the Golden Boy's looking at it. Why do we need to promote you? Everybody know who you are.
Yeah.
It's like Canelo's like that lady that wants all the fluff.
Yeah, I guess I can see the ego thing, but
he don't want just to be a regular guy and make his money. He wants all the fluff.
I can see it. I can see it.
So that's how that situation goes. So hopefully we have somebody from his camp come on next week, when things will be a lot more clear. But you heard it here first on the Slip of Dip podcast. Canelo Alvarez and Golden Boy is a lot of turmoil out there right now.
Yeah. Well,
but he will fight before the end of the year. He gonna get them fights with his own done. I can see Canelo retire, especially we already like 2 fights in, and look at all the turmoil. He still got 8 more left. He gonna be 33 and say peace with his $300 million. I can see him retire early.
I don't see him fighting all those 8 fights, but yeah.
You don't think? I think he fights all 8 fights and retire. I see him fighting them. That's $300 million, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
He'll be 33 years old, chilling.
A lot of money.
If he went 28, I would say. If he was Triple G age, I'd say no, hell no. But he's only 28.
Maybe. We'll see. If the drama keeps up this high, I don't know. We shall see. But yeah, people, we're going to get to these interviews with Geoff Neal, Stephen Wright. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please do so and give this video a thumbs up. We would appreciate it. Leave your comments below. One question we asked in the other video we dropped up throughout the week last week on Chris Cyborg is what promotion do you want to see her end up in now that we are robbed of the opportunity for a trilogy with her and Amanda Nunes? So we don't even get the opportunity at the rematch, and we're definitely robbed of a potential trilogy, which would have been a magnanimous fight. Magnanimous fight. But yeah, so let us know below, where do you want to see Chris Cyborg end up? That's our question of the week for you guys. So let us know below, and we'll reply in the comments below. Shout out to all the new subscribers as well. Thanks for rocking with us. We appreciate you guys. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave us a review, 5 stars. We'd appreciate it. If you're rocking with us on Spotify, hit that follow button as well there. We'd appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of the show. Until next week, peace.
Please welcome back to the Slip and Dip podcast. The second person to make back-to-back appearances and episodes. He balled 2 weeks ago, so he getting the call. We told you we were going to call you after you did what you say you going to do. 4-0, Mr. Geoff Hands is still deal. Welcome back to the show, buddy. Congrats.
Hey, thank y'all for having me.
So how does it? I mean, obviously, you know, you go out there and get that crazy fight against Nico Price. I'm sure you weren't planning for it to be that wild, that back and forth, right?
Nah, not at all, not at all. But I mean, that's a fight game. You never know. You never know what's going to happen until you're in the cage fighting.
Did trip you out that he was challenging you? You're like, oh, really? The trip you out when he tried to challenge you was kind of like, oh, really? You want to throw hands?
Pretty much. Like, this is what we doing.
The first, like, I would say 20 seconds, and when you have to throw a jab, and you like, well, I want to say you went to the left or the right, but you did a jab, and you're like, oh, okay. It's kind of like you went in training mode, and the rest was on autopilot.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I just autopilot. Like, after that headbutt happened, like, I don't remember too much of the fight after that. I was in autopilot for the rest of the fight after that shit.
Wow, y'all do some hell of drilling out there for this then, shit.
Right. It's in our DNA.
Right, yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. Speaking of which, I have been out there a couple of times. Haven't seen you yet, but I have been going.
You have been going?
I have been going. I have been.
All right. What days you went last week?
When did I go? I went Tuesday and I went Friday, 6 a.m.
Okay. Okay. You doing that early MMA fit with Coach Safe?
Yeah, well, he was out of town, so we did. I did gi and no gi.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Jeff, like I'm past that.
Damn right. Damn right. right. He's out there getting knockouts on pay-per-views and stuff, man. So
Yes, sir.
way above the white belts in the jiu-jitsu classes for sure. Yeah, it's nice though, man. I'm really even seeing it even in the classes like that I've been going to, like the dedication amongst that team is crazy, man.
Yeah. You got to be dedicated in this sport.
100%. And I'm really excited. I mean, I know you haven't been privy to, I guess, the inner workings of the new additions and stuff like that going on. But when did y'all say that was supposed to open up?
You talking about like all the extension to the gym, like all the stuff? I think he said sometime in August, but don't quote me on that one.
Okay. So pretty soon then.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Very cool. Yeah, I can't wait for that, man. Can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Where is this? Where's that other gym that I see you post on your Instagram and stuff like that? What's it called? Where you do like
Extreme Studio Performance.
Okay, is that like a private gym or what?
No, it's not a private gym. It's something like that. I mean, you can have a membership. You can work out there all you want, but most people that go there, they use the instructors and they do all the private lessons and whatnot. But it's in Addison. It's like North Dallas. That's where it's actually like 3 minutes away from my house, which is fucking great. Waking up in the morning, I don't got to drive and deal with traffic. I just go straight there.
100%.
Back on the MMA front, do you think people finally giving you your recognition now? That because like it takes you 4 wins and 4 stoppages to get everybody's attention. I see you popping up on Luke Thomas. I see you on UFC Unfiltered. Next thing you know, you're gonna be on Joe Rogan. It's like your stock is high right now. Hot.
This time I'm gonna be on Joe Rogan.
No, I said yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know that. Okay, yeah. I was like, that's new to me. But I mean, I just gotta keep winning. As long as I keep finishing people, I'll get to where I need to be. I gotta keep taking people out. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Do you think people are starting to on the top 10 people kind of leery? They know you coming.
Yeah, they know. I mean, if they don't know, they're dumb. They better pay attention.
Who's 2 people in the top 5 that you like to see? If they came to you tomorrow and said, pick out one of these, out 2, to give us 2 names in the top 5, who would those names be?
Sure, I don't know who is in the top 5. What, Covington? So is RDA still in the top 5?
I believe so. I'd have to pull that up and see. I'm not 100% sure.
So did you see the craziness yesterday? First of all, did you see the fight?
Yeah, I seen the fight.
did it go how you thought it was going to go?
I didn't think it was going to go down like that. Fucking Covington outstruck Lawler. Like, that makes no sense to me.
Exactly. Because we talk about this in the open of the show. What do you think about all the effects and stuff afterwards? Because to me, people say it's a gimmick or whatever. At the end of the day, you're going to have to fight him. So if Kobe come walking up on you, are you going to bring out that Central Texas? That's what I really want to know. Are you going to bring that
I ain't going to play the game. I'm just going to fight him. Beat him up, and I'll talk shit afterwards.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, RDA is still holding on to that number 5 spot, at least as of the rankings before they update this week. So I would take that fight with RDA 100%. That'd be dope. One guy that made a huge jump is Leon Edwards. He jumped 8 spots. He's number 4.
Oh, he's number 4 now. Damn, that's good.
Yeah, it's crazy. I do have to mention for the folks out there that may be watching or listening to the podcast this week, we got Geoff coming to us live. He is behind the wheel.
Behind the wheel.
going down the highway. So hopefully,
right.
this maintains its a safe interview throughout.
Nah. Let's go. I just pulled off the highway, so we're all good now.
All right. That's good. Yeah, man. So, like there's been a lot of movement in the division, obviously, and of course that was a huge fight. I mean, for Robbie to drop, like he was 11th, he had already dropped down to 11th, and now potentially dropping even further. I mean, what do you think he should be in the race? You still think he's still a top 15 guy?
Oh, I
think he's a top. If he fights like that, his next fight, no, he's not a top 15 guy. That wasn't a top 15 performance in my eyes. But I mean, maybe Covington is just that good. I don't know. But from what I've seen, I just didn't like it.
Is it me? Did he look like a shot fighter? Like somebody that's been through wars like he has? He looked like a 36-year-old washed up fighter that's been in the game 18 years to me.
Yeah, for the first time, I never seen him like that. I was just thinking, I was like, if Robbie fought him like he fights all his other fights, he would have fucking crushed Covington because Covington was sitting right in front of him.
Exactly.
It's like Lawler wasn't even trying to hit him. I don't know. what was going on in his mind. Maybe he got tired from the first round and all the wrestling, but I don't know.
I keep telling my co-host he don't believe that Father Tommy shows up out the blue. When you see something you have not seen before, that's a sign you don't know when you're gonna see it until you see it. When have you seen somebody stand in front of Robbie Lawler and laugh and be doing what Kobe was doing? Cause I was at the Rory McDonald fight, so I know what he's about.
Yeah,
I was cage side for that.
Great. Use cage side. That's the fight. That's a good fight to be cage side too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was there for that one too. I mean, that's the thing we've seen Robbie do a lot, where he just stands in a pocket and he likes to roll with the punches, like prove that he's really good with the defense. But usually he comes out of the fire.
He did that the whole fight.
Yeah, it was kind of frustrating to watch because it's like
it was.
I've seen other fighters throw out there on social media, namely one John Jones, saying he let the whole world down. But
oh shit!
Yeah,
I didn't see that. That's funny.
Yeah, he said that because the whole political thing that Kobe's bringing into it. Yeah. So
often do you watch these dudes that you gonna have to see? Like, do you watch every time Kamaru fights, every time Kobe? Or you like, I see these folks when I see them, or do you watch them live?
I watch them all. Like anytime a welterweight's fighting, I'm watching it. Like if they're like in the top 30, like, you know what I mean? Like the rankings, like Tapology, if they're like up there in the rankings, I'll watch them.
Got you.
I make it a point to watch them. Yeah.
So, what do you think about the fact that there's some very talented fighters, but there's nobody that does anything? Like, for instance, what's common is when you stand in front of Francis Ngannou, there's nobody other than yourself like that in that division right now. Other than, I take my bad, Jorge.
Yeah,
I'm a bad Jorge. But really, though, it seems like people have to mix stuff up. They don't have that one instant they can fight you, or like Damian Maia back in the day, he could just sit there and tap you out in an instant. There's nobody really other than you and Jorge that can get people out there in a second. Like, y'all could be losing the whole fight and just change the fight with one punch or one moment.
Yeah.
Does that give you some confidence so that these guys got to kind of chain break you down to have a shot to beat you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the reason why it's like that is because a lot of the welterweights they like to play it cautious. Like they're in the top 15, but they forget what got them to the top 15. They because all the welterweights they can finish anybody. You know what I mean? All the top 15, but they just don't fight like that anymore. They just want to get the win to move on to the next step and get a shot at the belt. But that's not what makes you the money.
No, it's not.
Speaking of, what you gonna do with that bonus money? Can you sponsor your favorite podcast?
That's going straight in the bank.
I was actually gonna ask that I don't want to put my boy on blast here. I was gonna say, as all media people, can we please stop asking fighters what they're gonna do with their bonus money? Like it's some huge amount of money.
Me though, I always ask it because you are a guy. But here's the funny thing I think of that's funny. People ask what y'all gonna do with the money, but then they get out. But they say people get so appalled. I don't get appalled with the way the UFC pay structure is, because like the people should have a fighters union. So it's kind of like, why do people care about what y'all do in general? How y'all let Dana screw y'all? What you gonna do about your bonus money? I think it's funny to me. It's all funny. It is.
Yeah, I mean it is. I knew what to expect. What's up?
I don't get up in arms about that, but it's cool seeing the brother come out the other side of the tunnel with that 50 G's in his pocket. Talking about
what I did. Finally.
Right. So I mean, at least does that buy you a few extra days off of work before you head back to the waiting gig, or when do you head back?
I just got off work.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I got off work, went to see my daughter, and then hopped on the podcast with y'all.
Okay. That's dope.
I mean, I'm gonna keep working though, because I just don't. You know what I mean? There's what else I'm gonna do? Sit around and just like let my money just waste.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's not something like you hate doing, right?
Yeah, it's not that bad. I like it. I like the people I work with. It's cool.
Okay. You're getting crazy tips because people kind of know who you are or figure out, oh, that's that UFC.
Nah. I mean, I figured they wouldn't even give me tips like that. Like, if somebody knows who I am, they probably ain't gonna tip me extravagant. Like, oh, this dude fights in the UFC. He don't need my money.
Yeah.
So that's how it'll probably go.
Oh, so you opposite. You like that? You not a UFC fight guy? No, that's not me.
Yeah, I don't like being put on blast. But my coworkers do it all the time. Like, you know who that guy is? He fights in the UFC, and I fucking hate it when they do that. Because then the guest wants to ask you 1,000,001 questions, and you gotta be nice and go through all those questions. But yeah, it's not something I deal with while I'm working.
Dude, I feel you on that on so many levels. It's crazy. But
Don't be that guy.
Especially because you're just trying to go
Right.
about your business, handle your tables or whatnot. It's like,
Yeah, that's
I
it.
had to throw that out there. No, I feel you on that, man. But so Fortis has been very active. I know a couple of guys were at the LFA show, Austin Lingo, and I believe you were there for those, right?
Yeah, I was there for those.
Okay.
We went 3-0, 2 finishes, 1 decision.
Yeah, he had a really quick knockout, wasn't that the case? I haven't seen the video yet, but I just saw I saw the headline.
Yeah, he crumbled that dude. I swear, Austin, like pound for pound, he has like the strongest hands in the gym.
Really?
Like, yeah, for like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's devastating. Like, if he hits you, you're going to fall. It's going to hurt.
Jeez, he ain't caught you like that, has he?
Nah, yeah, he tries to spar me. I was sparring because he only has one.
He lightweight,
Yeah,
right?
he's at 145.
Yeah, I was like, he's sparring you then.
Yeah, he tries to spar me, like, cause I go with the little dudes, you know what I mean? I'll keep it light, but Lingo doesn't know how to keep it light.
Uh-oh.
He'll be trying to he be throwing bombs at me. I'm like, bro, you're like 145. I don't have to take you out.
He the TJ Dillashaw for this. Nah, I ain't say that.
Nah, he ain't bad like that.
That's hilarious, man. Yeah, so I mean that's good, man. That's more names, more recognition for the gym in other promotions. Do you think he'll end up like on the Contender Series soon or what?
I don't know. He might just get a short notice call. You know what I mean? They might just call him up and not have him wait, because the Contender Series is almost over. Yeah. So I don't think he's gonna have to wait a whole year before he gets another shot.
Has he got a shot at UFC? He ain't got a shot.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
No.
Is he one of those people that stay ready? This is a whole nother thing. I'm not gonna single out somebody, but what do you do? What do you do when you see guys that train in the gym that just be whooping everybody's ass, and then you see them in a fight, and it's like, what are you doing, bro? They look
completely different, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I saw somebody, I never seen him in the gym, but he strikes me as that came at y'all gym. I was like, bruh, what are you doing?
Yeah. It's because it's a mental game, and like, you know what I mean? Like, in the gym, you're comfortable. Like, you know, like, all the environment's like what you're used to, but when you get in the cage, it's so different, you know? You got the crowd, you got the pressure, like, you know what I mean? And when it comes to fighting, if you lose, like, winning's everything. You can't lose and like, oh, it's okay, because it's not okay at the end of the day. It's not okay to lose in this sport. You know what I mean? This ain't like football. Like, you lose like the first 2 games of the season, but you could come back. Like, you lose 2 or 3 fights, you're fucked. You know?
Right. 100%.
So,
that's why I like Geoff. He keep it 100. That's why you pound for pound my favorite fighter. Now Dallas guys represent, man.
So Dana was talking about extending the Contender Series into like a second.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess kind of the pushback I've heard is that could like really quickly water down the regional scene. What do you think about that?
No, I'm 100% on that. It will water down the regional scene. It might water down his series in general. You know what I mean? Because there's only so many top level fighters out there. You know what I mean? How many of them are you gonna find?
Exactly. That's why my man here watches it every week. I've been to one episode in person. It was cool. I like to check out at the new place or whatever. Yeah. But if I'm not there live, I'm good. If you that good, I'll see you fight Geoff Neal sooner or later, or somebody in the top 10. If you that guy.
If you that guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's I love the Contender Series. I think it's a great show. I think there are some really good talents that come out of it. But like you said, like it could really get watered down really, really quickly. And if you don't have top level guys, unless Dana wants to kind of change it up to where it's like, okay, we're only giving out 2 max every show, not giving all 5 fighters. You know, there's got to be some sort of change. How
about they have a certain amount for the season? School an episode. That's why I don't get. Yeah. You get a contract. You get a contract.
You be handing them things out like candy,
boy. It didn't even look so. Okay, so you just signed a contract and you failed a test. So is that a waiver or what? Like, are you really you took the test? You went under the UFC jurisdiction. So how can they revoke something that It's that stuff right there. It's all gray area. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, man. It's wild. I don't know, man. So you're obviously already back to work. Have you been back to back to training yet, or are you still taking some time?
Yeah. I showed up on a Tuesday. I took the rest of the week off. I'm gonna get back in there Monday, and then get back on the grind.
Okay. Usually go in the evenings when you do go.
I usually wake up in the morning and go to strength and conditioning. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna sleep in, enjoy this one. Yeah, because I'm good.
How you feel physically?
I feel good. I feel great physically.
So could you be back in, say, October?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, October. Yeah, I could be back September.
Okay. So if you had your way, you would get 2 more fights in, but this year then, right?
Yeah, if they were good fights, they're reasonable. Yeah, I would do it.
So I know you don't like to talk like you talking to us now. I gotta see you like I need somebody in the top 10. I got to see you call these people out because they running for me.
If it gets to that point where I have to, I will. But I'm hoping they'll just give me somebody in the top 10. But you never know. I might have to start talking some shit. I don't want to. I don't like doing stuff like that. But that's where the sport's leaning towards. Like that's what gets people fights. So I might have to do it.
Hey, closed mouths don't get fed. Quote my man Neil Madden.
That's real.
Yeah, it is real. And last thing I want to ask you is, I mean, speaking about the closed mouths don't get fed thing, like what do you make of the Colby Covington shtick? That's the guy at the top of your division knocking on the door of that title shot right now. What do you think about this whole gimmick?
It's not a stick and a gimmick though, because he's really doing this. This is not WWE. He's really doing this. He really walked out with the belt like he had won. He really came out to Kurt Angle. So why y'all people keep calling it a gimmick? He really did do that.
I don't mind none of that. The only thing I mind.
First off,
the only thing I hate is that the MAGA shit. I hate like you bringing politics into the sport. Like I don't like that shit.
He really brought politics into it.
Yeah. Like he's like you can be Colby Covington. You can have your little 4 women, do those little like you know what I mean. Do whatever the fuck you want to do, but like keep the MAGA. Maybe like shut the fuck up, bro. Like just fight, please. I don't like that.
And then you got the fake belt. He really came up in there with a fake belt. So that's not a gimmick.
I like that.
It's a gimmick because it's not. He is not officially recognized. Can I finish talking? He is not officially recognized as a champion. When has Dana ever let anybody walk into his cage when you don't officially own that belt?
He did it yesterday. That's what I'm saying. So it's not a gimmick.
He does it because
nobody else has done it. Nobody else has done it.
And he's friends with Trump. Dana's friends with Trump. So he's like, hey, I'm going to let you get this off, Colby.
I'm like, just saying, though.
It's all a gimmick.
How's it a gimmick when nobody else is doing it?
Do you understand the definition of gimmick, Kendrick? Come on,
it's not a gimmick. He's really walking up in there with belts that he's not champion of. But him and Kamaru, if you were Kamaru, would you have handled it the same way? I thought it was funny. Every person had a security guard attached to them, including Rashad and my girl KD. That was the funniest. That was better than the fight.
If I was Kamaru, I would have played it cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't let that dude come in and like, get you out of character because that's not – he was out of character. He let Kobe get him out of character. He should have just kept his cool, just being smooth, like, whatever, Kobe, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to whip your ass. It is what it is. But he got a little out of character for a minute.
Yeah, he did. He did. But, I mean, everything Kamaru was saying was true. You know, he's like, hey, I ran up on you at the Indian Grand, and all you did was pull out your phone and start backing away. You know,
yeah, I seen that. That shit was funny.
He said, "Did you call the cops this time? Did you call the cops?"
Call the cops. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, whatever you think of it, people out there listening, whatever you think of it, it is bringing eyes to the division. It is one of the most exciting divisions right now, and hopefully, you know, when these rankings update on Tuesday or Wednesday, we will see that number next to your name.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't they put him up there last week though? After the fight though?
No, he's not there right now.
I'm saying, but how you gonna move up if you hadn't fought? They would have moved him up last week, though.
No, it should update again after this fight, so should be on there. So we'll see. We will see, man. Thanks for the time, brother. Thanks for dropping.
Appreciate it, man. It's always fun when you come.
No problem, y'all.
We gonna catch you before. We gonna keep the same routine because you keep winning, we keep balling, and when you get to that belt, we didn't show up. We didn't just show up on the scene like these other people come out the woodwork. Now, how's it when you win now? Like I've never seen you on Lou Thomas say, "Hey, we want you on now." 4 knockouts later, like how's that go?
Right. I don't know. People hit me up and I either say yes or I ignore it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like I can't do like 20 interviews. You know what I mean?
Also, they just pop up when you get to win, literally.
Yeah. So it's like some people hit me up before. Like I got a certain people that I will always do. You know what I mean? Because they was interviewing me at the beginning. But exactly, you know what I mean. But everybody else I'll choose. Like, and I'll talk to my coach. He'll be like, "Nah, fuck them."
Yeah, man. Oh, one last thing. Who are you running that Facebook page, posting all the memes and all that stuff?
That's my homie Spider. He runs that. He's trying to take control of my Instagram. I'm like, nah, bro, that's me. I'm gonna keep that.
Okay. was wondering. I was like, man, Facebook
Yeah.
is on point. So, yeah.
I might have him do the Instagram, but I don't know. I feel like I got it under control. I like to keep it chill because I don't want to have to deal with notification after notification every day. So
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
I have a feeling this is the tip of the iceberg for you, Mr. Neal. I have a feeling.
Yeah. Eventually, go get that belt one day.
But there he is, people. Geoff Neal. Follow him on at Hands of Steel MMA on Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook. All those good places. Hopefully, we'll see his name in the rankings this week when they update.
Friend of the show.
Can't wait to see you go to work again, man.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me on.
Please welcome back to the Slipping Knit Podcast, friend of the show, one of the best MMA trainers in the world today. I don't even want to say MMA trainer, one of the best combat sports trainers in the world today.
Promoter as well.
Promoter. They're doing all. Mr. Steve Warman, Wright. Thanks for coming on in the pitch, brother.
I'm good. God bless. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. So what's your take on the last couple of weeks of combat sports? We got major boxing fights, unification fights right here in our hometown, Dallas, Texas. We got people putting on gimmicks, as Matt calls it, with fake belts and UFC octagons and getting away with it. So I don't see how it's a gimmick when you're getting away with it, but that ain't none of my business, though. What's your take on all this stuff, the state of combat sports? We don't even limit it to MMA and boxing.
Business is good. For example, in particular in boxing, the resurgence of boxing in the last few years has been great. I'm a big fan of PTI, and I'm watching after, and again, this is a little bit further back, but after you get the Tyson Fury victory, they've got Kornheiser and they're talking, and Wilbon, they're talking, and he goes, heavyweight boxing. He's like, the whole world will stop. I don't care what other sport you're talking about. If you get good heavyweight boxers, we're always going to talk about it. And they never talk about boxing. And in the last 2 years, they've talked about boxing more than they have in, and I've been watching the show since the very beginning. They've talked about it so much because it's just different. It's almost like the PBC thing ended up making boxing better, because after you started putting a product out on TV on a regular basis with huge stars that didn't get huge, opponents, and people turned away from the product, it's almost like it forced the game to be something different. And I think that really, really helped boxing out, and you're getting more events and streaming services putting up big money for content. That's giving you opportunities. So, right now, boxing in particular is really killing it. The UFC, of course, they make their money from the ESPN deal. So even if the crowd isn't what you want, they're still producing the content. And if you're going into combat sports, if you're a person that's interested in combat sports, right now you got to be feeling pretty good that you got a future in it. So, all in all, just not even talking about a specific fight, it just seems like things are going extremely well for combat sports at the moment.
100%, man. And there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people getting their heads turned for various reasons. Like you said, the heavyweight boxing thing, I agree with that, man, because that's what I grew up on. When I thought about boxing growing up, it was the Tysons, it was the Holyfields, it was even looking back on the shows that they would talk about Ali and stuff like that. And now to see it, you got 3-4 guys in the mix now at the top of the division. It's exciting again because everybody wants to see these matchups. Everybody wants to see the other two Welders.
I'll go ahead and say it. I know not everybody will agree with this, but I definitely, truly believe it. I think that if you look at the eras of boxing and the history of it, there's a really good chance that if you look at, Ali's era, you've got guys like Frazier, and you've got, Floyd Patterson was towards the end, but you had Frazier, you had Foreman, you had what would be considered the first great era of heavyweight boxing. Not that there wasn't good heavyweights before, but that's considered the first great era of heavyweight boxing. So then, and then some people make the argument for, Floyd Patterson and I can't remember the guy from Sweden. He was really good. Cooper from England. There's a kid from Sweden. I can't think of his name right now. It's killing me. But Patterson beat him for the title, lost it and then won it back. That's what made Floyd Patterson the first title defense. And then Liston and so on. Some people consider that first big group of heavyweights. But I really think the first big-time group of heavyweight boxing would be Frazier, Ali, Foreman, that era. And then go ahead and flash forward, and I would say the next great era in heavyweight boxing would be Tyson, not his first run, but his second run. Because the second run, that had Holyfield around, that had some of the, Galata and like some of the guys around there. We are heading into, without anybody really noticing, this could be the third great heavyweight era. Like if it all works out where guys are beating each other, most importantly, where guys are fighting each other, we could have that era. We've got 4 guys at the top. And we've got different titles, and we've got a big rematch coming. We've got 2 big rematches coming. We've got both. People forget that it's already written down, or it's already been agreed upon that Fury and Wilder are going to meet again. So really, we could have a 4-man tournament. So it's like we are in a special time as far as the heavyweight boxing goes. So just as long as the guys keep competing and don't rule out a Joseph Parker or something like that getting an opportunity against one of those guys and pulling off an upset. He lost to in his first bid. Well, I won't say it's his first bid, but he has a win over Ruiz. You know what I'm saying? So he has a title win over Ruiz, who has a win over Joshua, who he lost to. So it's like, it's fun times right now in boxing.
Hey, I didn't forget about that rematch. It's going to be happening on my birthday weekend in February. I'm already locked and loaded and ready to roll. I will be there live and in color like I was for the first one. At the first one, though, it was crazy because usually you have a feeling if a fight's going to be great. It didn't have that feeling, but it ended up being legendary because you see Fury getting Fury sitting there jabbing this mess out of Deontay with his 2-piece. And like they put it all in promos. It's like, I'm glad I was actually there. It's one of those fights I would have been super hot had I not been there because they showed all these highlights. And that was the first go around, so no telling what we're going to see in the second one, which will be in Vegas.
For sure. And the most important thing about all of that is storylines and narratives. How many people walked away from that fight with, I think Fury actually won, or, I can't believe Wilder got up. Like, it doesn't matter what your view is. If you say that after watching, then you go right back to, like if you say that right after it, then when the rematch comes, everybody's watching it with their opinions from the old fight. And that's what makes it great. That's what you want your combat sports to tell a story. You don't want them to just be 2 people hurting each other. Like, that's cool and all, but that won't go as far as I want to see this again. Sometimes people want to just vindicate what they said before. They want to prove that I said that Fury won last time, so I need to see Fury win again. That's how it is with Triple G and Canelo. I think that Triple G won the first one. I want to prove it by watching it again. And then, wherever you fall on the second fight is how you fall. I actually have that 1-1 on my own card. So if they do it a third time, I'm going to enjoy watching that too, no matter who wins. And I go into it with that mentality of this is the storyline leading up to it. So Wilder and Fury's got it all. And the styles, the fact that one guy is clearly the better boxer and one guy is clearly the better hitter. It's just what you want in combat sports. It really is.
Before we segue into MMA, what do you think about this whole Canelo stuff? We were supposed to have one of the people that's very high up in Canelo's camp come on. They have to cancel because they're having a meeting tomorrow because Canelo is super high at Golden Boy right now because they're mishandling all this stuff and they lost one of his belts. So technically, Canelo went from having 3. I think he only got 1 belt now because he dropped the IBF and then he just got the WBO and now he got the IBF strip. So he's super hot, and it all comes to money. And I might as well put up their finger at Golden Boy, but the Zone is as well because the Zone's trying to handpick his opponents. So, but that wasn't part of the contract though. So it's kind of like what you want him to do, because and also too, a lot of people don't realize is that people want to see Triple G3. Canelo and Triple G, because of the whole testing stuff, really don't like each other no more. It went from being cool to because Triple G got $20 million that he ain't gonna never see again. So he's super hot about that. And so they ain't trying to fight each other. It's more of an ego thing behind the scenes. But from a business standpoint, how can you not fight Canelo a fight when he has a guaranteed contract? It makes no sense, especially when you got people like Demetrius Andrade that's got a belt, that's willing to fight. People like Eddie Hearn that want to make a deal. It doesn't make no sense how Golden Boy could F this up, but they found a way to do it.
I got to let that play out a little bit longer. I don't know what's going on there. the very popular Let's Go champ,
Shannon Briggs.
Yeah, Briggs. The thing that I most remember about him, outside of the fact that he used to be heavyweight champion, and outside of the fact that he really did have one of the more colorful boxing careers, the thing that I remember most about that statement, or most about that conversation, is that he put himself into position to get the title fight that he wanted, but when they started offering money, he was almost looking for like a price out type thing. So he's like, what are you guys going to give me? And they say $3 million. So by default, he'd be like $9 million. Now, again, they're like, you're not bringing $9 million to the table. You're looking at this more as, we're going to cash out big on this opportunity. And he dragged it to the point where now his name's not mentioned against any of those guys. Remember, it was hot for a little while. Remember, he was doing it with...
He caught my man Beyonce Wilder. He came to Barclays Center. He caught my man Beyonce Wilder. Yeah.
So he did his job of talking himself into the position, but when he didn't get it, he then ended up fighting these guys for like $8,000, because he's just trying to keep his record and prove that he's still, winning and getting KOs. But he talked himself out of the big opportunity. Some of those guys are looking at Canelo as the big cash out rather than the big fight. And I think that there is a good chance. The thing that we don't see here is when those guys sit down and they say, because Andrade brings nothing to the table for Canelo other than his title. There is no marketing. There's no one in the thousands, I would say, that are going to spend pay-per-view money to watch him compete if he's not going against Canelo. But if he does go against Canelo, there are some people that are going to wonder how that style is going to be, but he just doesn't bring that interest as an athlete. No offense to him. I know he's working hard, but I just don't hear people at the water cooler saying, can't wait for the next one of those. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Canelo, you just put your name on it and Canelo's going to be there. Canelo could just be like, I'm going to go watch a boxing event and that beast will sell out. Like he's that level of a guy.
I like that analogy.
So if you are the other side of it, and this is just to Golden Boy's defense on this part, I can see them being like, you know what? I don't want to give you that much money for fighting this guy. I don't want to do this. You know how sanctioning bodies are. You know what I'm saying? Like they are, there's another person in their ear to put that belt on the line. Not as much money for Canelo, but they could put that strap on somebody else and then still get the Canelo money down the line. So they're doubling up, like that's as a sanctioning body. They're thinking, I'll strip this from you, give it to, whoever in the division. That guy wins, then down the road have you fight for that title back, and I get the money from the fight that I did on the outside of you and the money from you down the road. Whereas if I just do the money with you, coming up, then I will get one check. So they got no problem stripping if it comes down to it, even if it's way less money to put the strap on one of those other guys. So I guess that would be the big thing that I'd focus on. There is a lot more to this than saying yes or no to an opponent, because I don't think, because Canelo, if he's fighting Triple G, he's fighting everybody that there is to fight in his era. Canelo's fighting him. So when he's done, we're not going to look back on his career and say, well, he missed blank. He's fighting him.
That's two things. One, you sound like a promoter, because for the offers that I don't know, the Russian guy, I don't know what the guy, him and Triple G are supposed to fight. They offered him $5 million. He wanted $7 million, and then the other Kovalov, he was gonna move up. They offered him $12 million. He wanted like 18 to 20. Yeah. So what you said falls in line with that. But who is Canelo fighting in his era? Can we fight somebody in your own age bracket that you're not 3 to 4 years younger than? Can I get somebody in your own age bracket? Can I get some Jamal Charlo? Can I get some Earl Spence? Can I get somebody in your age bracket that's quote unquote in your era? Like that's a fake narrative. People keep coming out that Canelo fights people in his era. He doesn't. He's always a younger fighter. Danny Jacobs was the closest, and he was 3 years younger than him.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's my feeling there. I do think that if you look at the top and the title holders who you would ask him to fight, he's got a Mayweather on his resume. He's got a, Jacobs on his resume. He's got a Triple G. And these are people that the crowd is yelling for him to fight. Now, remember, this isn't back in the day where you fought 4 to 5 times a year. He fights twice a year, most 3 times a year. So for me to jump on him about not fighting, 10 guys is a little unrealistic, in particular if he's already rematched one of those guys. So I give it a little bit of leeway. I'm saying that when it's all done, I think he'll have their names down. You know, like I don't think that there's anything in him that's like, I'm avoiding Charlo. I think that when it's all said and done, when his career is done, if there's someone out there, it seems to bother him that if you say there's someone out there that he hasn't fought, he seeks them out and he fights them. You look at the fight with Triple G. I think it bothered him that people were like, Triple G punches harder than you, and he's gonna like, you know, walk you down and knock you out. And I think that that's why he fought right in the pocket, because I think it bothers him that people would respond that way. So I guess that's just kind of what my thinking is. I'm not a person that's asking in the moment, especially coming off of Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that really is a tough guy. So if you give me super tough guy, super tough guy, light guy, that works for me. I don't need you to go against 20, you know, world beaters in a row. You know what I'm saying? You could go ahead and sprinkle some, you know, some mandatories in there. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. One other thing I want to ask you about boxing before we switch over to MMA real quick is, are you familiar with the situation that happened with Dillian Whyte and his drug test?
Yes.
So,
Yes,
as a promoter, you know, you're promoting the game now, right? And according to Eddie Hearn, you know, this was a big thing just a couple weeks or last week, right? Dillian Whyte had this meeting, whatever, and he was cleared to fight. However, his opponent was not notified of this in the lead up. Do you think that should be something that should be a requirement, like in the lead up?
Yes.
Because, I mean, like, it's mind blowing to me that Eddie Hearn was out there saying that he was cleared. Like, why do we have to tell him? That's insane to me. I don't understand this.
I would say that's insane to me too, because in the end, you're asking the other person as far as what risk are you taking in this game, and then you're also saying, well, it's combat sports, so they understand the risk. If we're doing the 100, you know, meter sprint, and you say, hey, just so you know, these are the guys you're running against, and you say Usain Bolt, and you say all the greats, I'm like, all right, I already know I got to deal with them because they're the fastest people on the planet. If you then come back to me and say, well, so-and-so, you know, took a shot of whatever, and you tell me that when I'm in the blocks,
right,
I'm going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you tell it to me like 3 weeks out, I'm like, all right, whatever, where's my check? You know what I'm saying? I can make my decision on whether or not I want to run. But there's, you know, there's not a winners and losers purse in this game as far as boxing goes. Usually you get a flat purse, you don't have a win rate, but there very much is a, how are you going to live life after you're done with this sport? And if someone has got aided, pop to their punch, or they can go a few more rounds because of cardio, or if there's an injury that normally they have to fight through, like all of us do in this game, that they are, you know, kind of cheating around. It's just, a friend of mine's Mo the Wall said it best. He said one of the hardest things in sports to do is to be 100% for a fight. So if somebody has a and that's like he said, 100% to perform. So not even just for fighting. So if someone has an aid there, the minimum that you can do is let me know. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But if someone fights dirty a month out and then you're like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep this between us. Then, of course, you know in itself that it's probably not the best. Now, again, I'm not there. I don't know all of it. For all I know, the other guy did hear something and then it came up later. That kind of stuff, that news comes out later. Sometimes you find out that person was told and maybe they kept it from the fighter because, you know, there's a lot of there's so much into this game and a lot of people get checks from that, you know. So when Whyte goes out there, he's got like 10 guys that are probably getting a check from his fight. If you tell them the information, are they trying to tell Whyte? You know what I'm saying? So like so much goes into it. I don't know the full story. I do know that if I'm the other fighter though, I would want to know something like that.
100%. Yeah, I agree. Like, I would think, like, even as like, if you were in the position of a promoter, I think the bare minimum you could do would be to communicate everything going on. You know, regardless of whether the test was like a failed, like a tainted thing or whatever, contaminated, you know, sample, whatever have you. I think that at the very, very minimum, it should be communicated. But, you know, it is what it is. And I think, you know, potentially the opponent may hear it and be like, okay, now I'm even more amped up to fight this guy since he wants to cheat. You know, but still, like, the communication has to be there. Like, it's crazy.
That gives him an option.
Yeah, he does. And so switch over to MMA real quick. I want to talk about...
we should sell debate.
No, I want to talk about the most recent thing going on. Obviously, we had the welterweight title picture kind of become a little bit more clear over the weekend with Colby getting that win over Robbie Lawler. What do you make of this Colby Covington thing, man? What do you make of it?
Is it a gimmick? Matt calls it a gimmick.
It is a gimmick. Kendrick doesn't understand the definition of the word gimmick, because gimmick is a false persona you're putting on when you're trying to play up this character. That is not how Colby Covington acts.
But here's the thing, Steve. When you're doing things that nobody else has done, coming in with fake belts, and they don't say nothing to you, you an outlier. You doing something that's more than a gimmick. Because why they let you do it? What makes you different? You that guy.
Because he's playing.
Oh, you got potential to be that guy. That's more than a character.
Okay, Kendrick, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Well, what I saw on Twitter the other day after the win were a lot of things along the lines of the MMA gods failed us today because Colby Covington won.
John Jones quote.
They would not have said that had Colby not created this persona that everybody hates. And to his credit, people watched hoping that he'd lose, and you can make a lot of money in this game by people hoping that you lose, Now the win in itself is bigger for other people than it is for me. You know what I'm saying? We have Colby coming off of a win last year over a guy who had wins, going against Robbie Lawler, who Robbie's dropped, I want to say 4 of 5, something like that. So it's not like Robbie was on what would be the better side of his career, or his championship run time. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's far removed from that guy. I can't even think of his last win off the top of my head. But I'm saying that people maybe read into that performance a little bit more than I would. But at the same time, Colby Covington can fight. So at the end of the day, he is almost like a wrestling Diaz. You know what I'm saying? His shots don't seem like they particularly hurt, but they just keep coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, death by 1,000 cuts with some wrestling in there. That the guy's got pressure, and he's going to keep striking, and he knows his spots. And he also been blessed in the opponent category. You get the right guy in front of you. He hasn't had another real dominant wrestler to go against. And sometimes you'll have that with a striker, where a striker hasn't really seen a guy who's the opposite style, that really heavy. It's just it's different for everybody. But Colby has put himself in this position because he can fight, and he's got wins. On the side of that, the persona that he's put together, gimmick, if you will, whether it's authentic or not is irrelevant, because no one cared about who he was before it. And people love to hate him now, and you got to give him his due. Things are going to get a little nasty here, of course. The lead up between him and Kamaru is not going to be fun.
No, it's not.
It's going to be grimy, and there's going to be some nasty things. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, it won't bring out the best in MMA. It will probably bring out the worst in MMA. And it may not even be, even the fight style might be a little grimy. You know what I'm saying? So we're hoping that, no matter what, that it ends when it ends. But him at the top of the division, love him or hate him, he's there. And that's how he's acting. And you would not have cared about him if he didn't act that way. So, I think both of you are right. I do think that it is a gimmick. But at the same time, Kendrick is also right. Nobody cares about this guy if he's not that, and you got to give him his due because people care. Perfect example, Adrian Broner. People say so much about Adrian Broner. Like, he's a friend of mine said he's the worst ever 4-division champion.
But you got to put that in his name, though. He's a 4-division champion.
And I was like, with that said, way more people have opinions about Adrian Broner than they ever did about Timothy Bradley. Ever. Like, Timothy Bradley came and went in the sport, and people don't realize Bradley beat Marquez easy. You know what I'm saying? The Marquez that Pacquiao has his struggles with, Bradley beat Marquez easy. And no one talks about him and the way that they talk about Broner. Broner is a polarizing figure, and I told him right back, I says, how many African-American boxers do people care about? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying love or like, care about what they have to say. Either they're just a good black dude from the city who's doing well for themselves, or they are, fillers on a card somewhere. You prefer this style as opposed to their style. I'm not going to stuff whatever. Broner made himself, and Broner is being himself. Broner made himself someone that people care about in the sport. So if anybody in combat sports kind of gets the understanding of, this ain't gonna work unless I do something more, then do something more. It just, there is way more money in it.
Steve, you didn't have our other guest on the show. You did talk to Tim, our man Geoff Neal. We try to give him a pep talk. We need to get his name out there. He got the skills, but people don't know who he is.
Good. I used to work with Geoff like back in the day, a couple of years ago. He'd come down to my gym sometimes, and he's very talented. He's got extremely fast hands, and he's got a really slick style when he needs to, and he throws in bunches. Not a lot of people in MMA throw in bunches. He's a very talented guy, but in the end, you know, he's still going to be himself. You know, if the other side is in there, maybe he'll give that side a shot. But I think that he likes the idea of showing up and beating you up and going home.
Do you think Father Tom is around the corner on Robbie? Because once again, we seeing stuff we hadn't seen before. We seen people stand in front of him and live to tell about it. Just like I was telling Matt last week, Cyborg, she got the win, but when have you seen two opponents in a row stand in front of her the whole fight and live to tell about it? Hadn't happened. I'm not trying to say she should never stop fighting. Father Time means it's like you ain't gonna see that lady that's just whooping people in a minute every time she walk out. That don't exist no more. That's gone.
There's money to be made in prize fighting, whether you are the killer you were or not, and there's great fights to be made whether you are the killer you were or not. Robbie, for me personally, I do not see the same guy that he was when he was, you know, back in the day. Even when he shows the aggression like he did in the fight to try to walk, you know, Colby down towards the end, nothing in that moment made me think he could kill him at any moment. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when I trained for him, you know, with Johnny and we fought him, I felt like this guy could kill at any moment. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just, like I remember, shout out to Jordan Breen from Sheerdog. He was talking about the fight with Johnny right after we won the title. Dan Mergliotta came over to Johnny right where we were standing there. He goes, he should have just kept throwing punches. He would have knocked Robbie out because it was right at the end and we had landed some big shots. Instead, we went for the takedown and he secured the fight. And he goes, he could have knocked him out. And then I heard Jordan Breen talk about it on one of his podcasts. And Jordan Breen said, Robbie could have knocked Johnny out if he went in for the death, the kill at the very end of that fight. He's still that live of a guy. That's the kind of guy who I think that he was, but that was, 2015, 16, like that was a while ago, you know, for those kind of that era of guy. And then as a fighter, I guess you would go to the Rory fight, but that was a while ago. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not talking about last year when you guys look at that Rory fight. That was a while ago.
Oh yeah, it was a while back.
So like he, you know, has miles on him, and I'm not talking about just fight miles. Just gym time and just the toll that this sport takes on your body. It probably has added up on him. Now, again, it doesn't mean that he is done making money as a prize fighter.
No, I wouldn't say for him to hang it up. I'm saying if we don't see that guy, it's a matter of time for his career. So he on the back nine, as they say.
For sure. And again, it's not like it's impossible for him to get a KO or that kind of stuff, whatever, but he is different. And I think he'd tell you that too. But one other thing I'd tell you that's different about him is as he ages, he's been more, there's so much grace and respect in him as he gets older that the younger version of him may not have had it as much. The younger version of him was kill or be killed, you know what I'm saying? And that was his mentality and language too. But the older version of him seems to be under control. And even though, you know, his opponent took shots, he didn't take shots back. And he's just I like this version of him. So as he goes down the twilight of his career, you know, I definitely think that he's done more than enough to make himself a legend in this game, and the way that he's conducting himself reflects that.
Where would you like to see Chris Cyborg end up? Which promotion?
Well, really, there's only one promotion for her because I was at the Bellator event where she was, you know, tweeting that, oh, they've got, you know, 2 undercard fights and then the title fight. They're actually doing divisions of that. She said that while she was still an employee for the UFC. It should be noted that no matter what side you are on the Cyborg Dana White thing, that there is mud thrown on both sides. And she is a more difficult person to deal with, I think, for them just in general. There are people who go through contract disputes all the time, but you don't necessarily see them tweet about what other companies are doing. If she goes out to Japan, she can make a lot of money, but they're going to be bringing her professional wrestlers and fights that aren't that great to put on, and just kind of using her more as a show figure. but she still has some talent as a combat sports athlete, even if the aggression and pop isn't there. Let's not forget, this is a woman that made herself famous by beating Gina Carano in 2009. So she was already an established fighter before that opportunity. And here we are 10 years later. Of course, it's going to be different now. You know what I'm saying? Of course, people are going to be able to stand there. Of course, people are going to try a little bit more. And in the situation last week, it wasn't even so much that the girl was standing there. It's that the girl believed that she could take the shots, and she could, you know. And of course, I was talking to one of my students the other day, April Angriano. She's one of my fighters. And I was telling her, when I did, you know, from my kickboxing podcast, I told her that when Cyborg was scheduled to go against Serena Bars in Muay Thai, I said, anybody who gambles, put your money on Serena Bars. She's going to win, I guarantee it. And she goes, why did you say that? I go, not only will she be confident in standing in front of Cyborg, but she knows how to kickbox and put up points, where Cyborg was used to being the superior athlete. When she ran into someone where she had to put rounds in the bank, she would have trouble. And that was years before, you know, she got dropped in the first shot in that fight. And then she ended up getting another knockdown in the round. And then throughout the fight, she had trouble. And the only time Cyborg had success was when she, like, goon strengthed her. But it told me back then more technical strength would be needed. But she could get away with it for a really long time. So after the fight was over, a lot of people were like, that's a different sport. And Cyborg would kill her in MMA. You know how it is. But as Cyborg got to the UFC, she started to show that development. She started to show that skill. But at the same time, you started to realize, you know, the early version of her used to just ragdoll people. The new version of her, fighting Holly Holm, going the distance. Fighting, you know, other people. Holly stood in front of her. You know what I'm saying? Like, other athletes played their role in front of her. For girls nowadays, the Nunes getting the victory and what you saw from Spencer a couple weeks ago, the aura of invincibility is gone by the time that they got.
Won't be coming back either.
Yeah. And I don't think it's coming back.
No,
but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be a killer for 8 years. And,
Follow Tom's undefeated.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's I think that's the best home for her, unless she wants to make just big checks against no one. But I do think that she prioritizes, or she thinks it's important that the division get developed. But I do think that if she does go over to Bellator, she's going to find in 2 fights that the division is gone all over again. Because she's going to go against the champion right away, I'm assuming. And if she dominates the champion, that would be the worst thing for her. It's better that the champion go rounds. That gives legitimacy to the title. But if she goes out there and she wins in 1 minute, then all of a sudden you're like, all right, how good were these girls over in Bellator all this time? So then I guess the next title, unless they do it before she signs, then the next person fighting for the title, of course, would be Leslie Smith, who did not have the greatest, you know, UFC run. And, you know, of course, she's the next in line for the title there. So then she'd get a girl who didn't do that well in the UFC and then beat the Bellator champion. Now all of a sudden, who do you fight? So it's just, if the health of the division is important to her, I don't know how long she'll have it in Bellator, but I do think that they have more options for her at her weight and will do their best to get something for her. Remember, she worked for Coker before. Coker takes care of his people. So I think he'll get her some good fights and get her some opportunities. And, you know, I think that's the best home for her. But for sure, she could go to Risen and make money just on spectacle.
Right. There's something Matt would catch. Matt, I'm looking at the UFC rankings right now. You see everybody, welterweight. You see Kobe, and you see Kamaru. You see UFC bantamweight women. You see Amanda Nunes. You go to UFC featherweight women. There's just a picture of Amanda Nunes with both belts on the show. Ain't no rankings. No nothing.
Yeah, there's only 4 people in the division.
It's not even no rankings. Just a picture of her with both her belts just chilling.
There's only 4 people in the division. And the thing with me with the Cyborg, why she didn't get resigned, why it's such a bad thing for me, is because, okay, I think Amanda would go out there and just wreck her again. The fact that you don't have the opportunity for Cyborg to win and create a trilogy, which would be a massive fight, is a huge disappointment for fans. Because if Cyborg did go out there and channel herself, you know, get out there and pick apart Amanda over the course of 3, 4, 5 rounds, however many, the trilogy would be a huge fight. And now we don't even have the opportunity for that to be a possibility. So, yeah, she can go over. She can fight Julia Budd, fight her, whatever. She can go to PFL, fight a Kayla Harrison, whatever. But I think the opportunity lost of a potential trilogy with Amanda Nunes is bigger than any other fight out there.
I agree. I think that would. There aren't too many fights in combat sports in general that will make an audience go, okay, must see. And then the women's division, it's even more rare, unless you become the A-side spectacle, like Ronda. People didn't care about who Ronda fought. She was the A-side spectacle. You went to watch a Ronda fight. That's it, like Mike Tyson. You went to watch a Mike Tyson fight. You didn't care about the B-side. So that had the rare possibility of, let's say Cyborg gets out of round 1, and then she could use her tools and her pressure better in 2, 3, 4, 5, where Nunes isn't known to be as great. Not that Nunes isn't good in those rounds, but round 1, Nunes is, an all-time dangerous finisher. If you get her out of those rounds, your chances of winning go way up. Katzengano got dominated in round 1. Katzengano hung around. All of a sudden, 2-3. Next thing you know, how do I get this girl off of me? Here comes Kat, and Nunes loses. Now, Nunes, of course, has changed things up and strength and conditioning coaches and all that. So who knows if it wouldn't be different this time around. The most important thing I would establish is that it's clear that your best chance is longer. And I think that if Cyborg had got her out of round 1, who knows what would happen in the fight. But that is gone now. We don't have that fight opportunity. And we'll just kind of see what comes from both athletes next. But I'm with you, gentlemen. I definitely think that it would have been a great fight if she could have won. And then you would have set up a big-time, must-see type of event.
Yeah, man. Before we get you out of here, do we have a date for Fighting Words Promotions 3 yet?
I'm looking at November. I just have too many fights right now with my own team. And I got to make sure that I put the right amount of time of promoting and so on. But early November is what I'm looking at for my next one. Got to get it in before that Christmas season because the dollars go in different places when you start doing a show in December. So you got to go there.
So do it on Saturday so you can get to slip and dip in your life.
I did do it on Saturday last night.
Yeah, it was on Saturday.
But you didn't sign up to slip and dip to be in your life, though.
I was calling the event.
That was half. That was slip. We didn't have dip.
Okay, my fault.
Anyways, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it, man. The shows are great. So anybody in the DFW area, definitely check out the next one. They're a lot of fun, for sure. Thanks for coming on, Steve, man. We appreciate it. Appreciate your breakdowns. Appreciate your knowledge.
No problem. I'm just watching old college football games, so.